Well, thanks for joining us for another episode of the Cybersecurity Whisperer. Today is Sunday, March 3rd. Glad you could join us. As always, it's been a busy week for cybersecurity, and so I want to encourage you, if you've got questions, be sure and comment or reach out, send us an email, and happy to answer those questions online as well. And also, if you're someone that's looking to get in and enter the field of cybersecurity, definitely reach out. I'm thinking about doing an episode, maybe even some separate episodes on how to get in the field, some of the important areas to focus on and study, and the mentoring and professional opportunities that are available, professional organizations. As we jump in this week, last week we talked about, I think, some of the home burglaries that were being carried out where the bad guys are bringing in Wi-Fi jammers because they know everyone's got, wireless camera doorbells and such. And so they were jamming the Wi-Fi signals so that you couldn't see them on your cameras. And this is a follow-on report to that this week there's a brand of security doorbell cameras made by a company called Eken, Eken, and some of those also may show up as called Tuck. And those cameras have a flaw in them such that all the bad guys have to do is download the app on iPhone, Android, just like you would for any doorbell camera. And you go up, physically have to be in the presence of the camera. You press the doorbell button like you're ringing the doorbell. You hold it for 8 seconds, and then it puts it into like a pairing mode with no password or anything. You can then pair it to your app on your phone and then leave, and now you've got an additional phone that's able to see the images off that camera and know when people are coming and going from your house. So certainly this goes back to Internet of Things and IoT security. Consumers, we typically want cheap, very, very cheap items. We don't want to pay a lot for things. And at the same time, these manufacturers, they don't want to pay a lot to make them, and so security is usually the last thing that they think about when they're making them. And there's no really regulations that they face. So again, if you're buying, surveillance cameras, wireless security cameras, again, this would almost be a reason to go to the wired cameras again. But if you have cameras by Eken or Tuck, you probably should immediately stop using them and replace them with something a little more secure. This past week, I had the privilege of attending a conference called the Innovate Cybersecurity Summit, and there's a lot of really great sessions there. One of the sessions and kind of one of the themes, and it really is marketing, it's rebranding. So much in cyber is rebranding, and you talk about going back to the basics and doing those things that really we should have been doing for 20 plus years, and that is security awareness, and it's been rebranded human risk management, meaning we know that we are, you spend millions of dollars on security for these large companies. Yet, one simple phone call with social engineering or one click of an email gets you through all those defenses. And so one of the things that Brian Krebs, security researcher and reporter, talked about this week was that malicious hackers are targeting people specifically right now in the cryptocurrency space. But certainly you could see easily where this could work on anyone. And they're sending a Calendly link, which is a very popular service that I'm sure all of you have used in terms of being able to schedule a meeting and see multiple people's calendars at once. So they send you a Calendly link, and they're impersonating a very well-established cryptocurrency investor, and they're asking to schedule a video conference with you. And when you accept that meeting, and then you click on the Calendly link to start the meeting, at that time it runs a script that quietly installs some malware. And it's targeting macOS. So right now, this specifically only runs on macOS. And that's an interesting shift. If you think about when I got into security well over 20 years ago, the bad guys typically didn't take time to write malware for Mac because the use case was so limited. They know that companies don't run Macs, they're too expensive. But now with the proliferation of bring your own device and a lot of folks are running MacBooks. And so this is the first, probably not the first, but one of the first targeted malwares that I've seen written specifically for macOS. So if you get a Calendly invite from someone, you need to verify, unfortunately, that it's actually from them, even if it's or if it's someone that, hey, some famous person you've really wanted to meet them, and wow, they're reaching out again. Goes back to that human risk management of if it's too good to be true, it is. And so just a heads up there from a security awareness standpoint. Here's something that's been going on since December, and the Center for Infrastructure Security and Assurance, part of the U.S. government, CISA, back on February 2nd mandated that all government agencies, if they're running Ivanti Connect Secure and Ivanti Policy Secure, that they actually unplug that from their network due to the 0 days they were out for that. And you think, well, why are you just now talking about it? Here it is in the beginning of March. Because last week, Ivanti came back out in CISA as well saying look, these patches are out. You've patched your Ivanti Screen Connect or Connect Secure and Policy Secure. But even though you've patched it, the bad guys could still be in. And so I think that that's, pretty common sense, but something that needs to be, again, mentioned is once you patch something, that just keeps new bad guys from going in. It doesn't keep the old bad guys who are already there out. It doesn't kick them out. And so Ivanti now, last Tuesday, issued an external integrity checker tool that's free to download, of course, from their official Ivanti website. And that will scan your entire environment of where these Ivanti tools are and tell you if the files actually are signed, if they have the right hashes, if they have the right integrity, so that they're not the malicious version of the Ivanti file. So even if you've patched, and if you haven't, please log into the Ivanti site and patch those your systems, your Connect Secure and your Policy Secure. I mean, we're seeing a wide range of malware. All of this Pit Stop and Pit Dog and Pit Hook and all these different Little Lamb, these code names that the bad guys give this malware that's being sent out and compromised quite frequently on these machines. So definitely some serious vulnerabilities there. And then finally, it was a big week in terms of those of you that, if you have a security framework, and hopefully you do, and you haven't kind of tried to develop your own, because there's so many great established frameworks out there that are industry accepted. And one of those that I can't believe it's been 10 years, but the NIST cybersecurity framework came out with version 2.0 this past week. And again, it's been 10 years since any changes have been made to that 1.0 version. And the NIST framework, if you're not familiar, it provides guidance to industry and government agencies and other orgs on how to manage your cybersecurity risk. And it really offers a taxonomy of high-level cybersecurity outcomes that can be used by any organization, regardless of your size or your sector or your maturity. And it will help you better understand and assess and prioritize and communicate your overall cybersecurity efforts in your program. And the great part is most boards and leadership teams understand it because they've come from other organizations that already use it. Again, it's been out for 10 years. This version 2, though, contains a new pillar on governance. So you've got identify, detect, protect, respond, and recover. And now they've added governance, which makes a whole lot of sense. So governance and supply chains in this new version, they give you implementation examples and references, kind of a current and a target state on your org profile so that you can compare where you were and where you want to be. And it gives you the ability to implement and assess these security controls quicker and more efficiently. So, this 2.0, it's phenomenal. I don't like a lot of the NIST documents because I think they're way too detailed and way over your head, 50 pages long for a standard. But the cybersecurity framework is a rock solid document. And this new version encourages a paradigm shift from a one-time assessment and implementation approach to this, this philosophy of continuous improvement, continuous monitoring. And so I'd highly encourage you, if you've not gone out and downloaded it, to do that. And certainly reach out with questions or comments about that. All right, that's it for this week. Hope everyone has a great week and stay secure. Thanks.